looking back now on a lot of the experiences you remember Matthew having from your vantage point now, I don't know, what makes you feel like you have gained the most spiritual ground between that time and the present?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that back then I was aware of the principle that's in the Bhagavad Gita, that you do your best and you leave the results to God. But I think I was fooling myself a little bit. I would pretend like I definitely believed that, but I was actually very much attached to fame or to success or ambition. Mm-hmm. So I've been brought up a Quaker, and my answer to that was to avoid fame completely. Mm-hmm. To make sure that everything I wrote was was signed with pseudonyms and nobody ever found out that I'd written anything. In other words, I hid. But what I've learned now is that that's not really the answer, because it doesn't change anything internally. You're only changing the outside. You still have all the ambition and everything, so then, inside you still feel unhappy about the fact that. So it's much better, I think, in this life I'm trying to go ahead and set that right. So I feel like it's more spiritual to be able to be successful and not let it affect you internally, mm-hmm. than to do away with the externals,
Yeah.
So that's one thing I feel like I've learned.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, yeah, Matthew had studied the satirists of Europe, and he believed in the use of satire as a weapon for good. And I'm a little more careful with that. I mean, there's times for it, mm-hmm. and the only time really it's appropriate, I think, is when you're faced with hypocrisy. I think you can use sarcasm. Even Jesus did that, when he was talking about the Pharisees and made, basically what amounts to a sarcastic joke about them being like a sepulcher, where they're beautiful and white on the outside and rotting bones on the inside. That's satire, that's sarcasm. Mm-hmm. So if you're faced with hypocrisy, I think you can do it. Any other time, you probably better not, because you're going to end up creating more bad energy than
anything else.
Yeah, than anything else. So I've learned that too, I think.
Mm-hmm.